So I think a lot of you out there think that your avoidant ex, once they've discarded you or once they've, broken up with you, that they just don't feel anything, and they've just moved on. They're not hurting. They're not, dysregulated in any way. And actually, they're doing better now because they're not with you. And that couldn't be further from the truth. So let me explain what's really going on. And what's really going on is that if you don't reach out and there's been a substantial period of time where you haven't, interacted with them in any way, shape, or form, what actually happens is, despite popular belief, is if it was a real relationship, meaning it wasn't a situationship, a 2-month, 3-month thing, then typically, not always, but most of the time, they will miss you, right? Now, that doesn't show up the same way it does for you, where you outwardly express these feelings to friends and family. What they do is they isolate, right? Because there's a shame wound. And so they say to themselves, man, I can't be feeling this way. Anybody who would see that would look at me as weak. And so I can't display these kind of behaviors out in public, out in the open, to my friends, to my family, to anybody outside myself. So they internalize all this guilt for how the relationship, ended, which was obviously their fault because, well, we all know why. But on top of that, the shame of going, man, I'm defective. I'm never going to, find someone. I'm probably always going to be alone. And then they kind of dysregulate and they go into a downward spiral. But that is when they start numbing. They go into their numbing patterns and behaviors, which could be anything from Netflix to excessively doing drugs. Like my ex used to smoke a lot of weed while I was with her, and then later she actually told me, she's like, I think I was taking out all my anger and frustration on you. And I was kind of like, yeah, I think so too. But, at that point it was too late because she was already deep into her avoidant patterns and she discarded me. And I think most of you guys know the story. But, one of the things that really stuck for me was this feeling of, I'm the only one hurting. I'm the only one who is experiencing this pain and this shame and, the negative consequences of being discarded or abandoned or thrown away. I'm the only one who's experiencing any emotional discomfort. She is not experiencing anything negative. Matter of fact, she's probably thriving. And that couldn't be further from the truth. And so if you're watching this and you're asking yourself, did I mean anything? Are they hurting? If you did have what you believe was a real relationship, then most likely, yes, they are hurting. The problem is most of the time, they're going to, as soon as they feel those feelings, they're going to shut them down and start numbing because that's what they know to do. Number one. And number two is that, because of that, they, what's the word I'm looking for? They tend to prolong the healing process, right? Which is why they can be stuck on their ex for years afterwards, believe it or not. And so if you don't think that they're hurting, think again. And now, kind of a side note, if you are still struggling with this, if you're still trying to figure out how to move on, you just can't seem to move on, I have an 8-week program where I go over everything so you can start learning the tools and then using those tools to systematically get to a better place and deal with these issues you had coming into the relationship and ultimately come out on the other side where you are not only healed, but you are in a secure place where you're able to attract someone who is emotionally available, who is healthy. So if that sounds good, click the link in my profile and book a one-on-one. And I also have a self-paced healing course that you can do, as well as a no contact survival guide. So if all of that sounds good to you, click the link and I will see you on the next video.